Good morning. When we raised our 6 children, we taught them Romans 13 because we wanted them to understand how crucial it was that they develop a submissive heart and not become rebels. Since we were training them for God, we knew that a humble, respectful heart was important and really vital for their relationship with Him. Rebellion, that's like the sin of witchcraft. Because when you rebel against God and what He has ordained, you open your soul to Satan and his very evil spirits. So our children were trained to listen to us, to honor our words, to obey what we instructed them. They were not in charge. We were in charge, and they learned that. They were to submit to us, not press us when they wanted something different, not pout, and not pressure us to submit to them and their whims. Yeah, we were imperfect parents. We still are. But we taught them that unless we asked them to sin, they were to obey our rules and directives with the right heart attitude. They were to do that as unto the Lord. They were to submit to their teachers and learn to listen and follow directions. They were to submit to the governing authorities and the laws of our land. We taught them that the laws do apply to them. When we would see a police person, we would lead the way in saying, "Oh, there's a minister of God." Now, that didn't mean the officer was a Christian. It meant that God, in His Word, made it very clear that governing authorities are extensions of God's rule in society. We would have them read Romans 13, and we would discuss it. So let me just read the first few verses. "Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Well, then do what is right, and you will be commended. For the one in authority is God's servant, God's minister, for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to the authorities, not only because of possible punishment, but also as a matter of conscience. This is also why you pay taxes, for the authorities are God's servants. Third time He said that, who give their full time to governing. Give to everyone what you owe them. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor." Well, that's the way it's to be. Now, when we read that, we're aware that we live in an imperfect world, so this doesn't always play out like it's supposed to, like God intended, but that is God's plan and will as we just read it. Now, in our 1 Samuel 24 teaching passage this week, David, who will eventually be the king and highest authority in Israel, is not yet the king. So he's having to learn how to live under authority. And of course, that will make him better when he's in authority. Now, to make it even more challenging, he has to submit to an evil-hearted authority who's trying to kill him. In chapter 24, King Saul is in a vulnerable position, and David has the opportunity to take him out, to kill him, to stop him. But instead, he does not. Here's the way it reads, and notice David's learned respect for the office that the king holds. Verse 6. "He said to his men, 'The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, or lay my hand on him, for he is the anointed of the Lord.'" Then, when his men still wanted to kill the king, David corrected them. Verse 7. With these words, David sharply rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went his way. He got away. However, the piece of his robe that David had cut would now be used for making his appeal to Saul, proving that David did not intend to harm him. Verse 8, Then David went out of the cave and called out to Saul, My lord, the king. When Saul looked behind him, David bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. Humbling himself, honoring the king's office, David would then make his appeal. And from the text, it's obvious that David's respect and restraint had an effect on the king because he didn't call the nearby army. Instead, he's going to listen to David's appeal. And we'll look at that tomorrow. But for today, I invite you to consider your heart toward the authorities that God has allowed to be in your life. Again, I trust that you can see the grace of God working in you, working out rebellion and working in respect, working out stubbornness and working in a submissive heart. Submit as unto the Lord. These are important expressions of faith as we walk in this world and live as ones under authority. I've met people who say, I don't submit to anyone but God. But that's not biblical. Just read Romans 13, and it's very clear that we are to submit to governing authorities that God has sovereignly put into place. And God is using this to cultivate in us humble, submissive, respectful hearts. Those are good, godly qualities that honor Him. So consider your own heart today as we go to the Lord in prayer. Thanks for listening. Lord, forgive us when we rebel in heart or attitude or action. Teach us how to submit. Teach us how to make appeals. Teach us how to live as ones under authority, and then when you open the door, to be wise and godly when we are in authority. We pray. You continue. God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Mornings with Pastor Jim. This podcast is a ministry of Family Church PC. For more information or to contact us, go to familychurchpc.com. Have a blessed day.